One thing that couldn't be stressed enough in the pre-fight breakdown was the massive influence of AJ's counterpunching ability on the outcome of this fight. While a flatline KO was unexpected on my end, or at least for Anthony Joshua, Francis being hurt several times, particularly because of his style of jumping in and AJ's perfect style of countering people jumping in and overextending. What does he do? He kind of overextends in fury as he's jumping back. Step back, counter with the cross, and that's what AJ specializes in. Step backs, pulls, slip counters, particularly when someone's trying to enter range, and particularly when they're overextending. And in his last fight, it was especially clear versus Southpaws. So if Francis is going to Southpaw and if he's overextending, I can't think of a better opportunity for AJ than in that situation. Those things were expected, and they did determine the outcome of this fight. I also talked about AJ's ability to snipe and box on the outside as a one-shot sniper. That was also going to allow him to find many offensive opportunities once he kind of froze Francis up and got Francis fighting at his pace and in his type of fight. Only 10 seconds in, AJ is working with that lead hand. He's calibrating it. Well, one thing you'll see right there is he's feinting. He's feinting, getting Francis out of position, getting him reacting. Francis lowering that guard, expecting a jab to the body. And then what is AJ finna do here? Lead hand. Now he was doing that within 10 seconds of the fight. And that's calibration. That's range measurement and management too. And kind of a feint too, but mostly the first two, just range calibration, which is very important for somebody who's a sniper like AJ. And part of the problem for Francis is that he doesn't have the experience or the IQ of someone like Usyk to know that he has to disable that immediately. He can't let AJ start measuring, because if AJ has the range, he's already won a massive part of the battle. Let's take this for example. After AJ jabs to the body, Francis does the single punch I've mentioned like 20 times in the pre-fight breakdown, that counter left hook that he repeats time and time again, and that repetitiveness is going to get him punished later on. But AJ gets grazed with that left hook, okay. And so immediately after that, he does a step in feint and he just barely leans back out of the way. Well, how did he know that the range was perfect? Because he was calibrating just a few seconds earlier. Just a second or two earlier, AJ was the one circling, backing away. But immediately once Francis turned southpaw, look at the change in the, not momentum of the fight, but the style of the fight, and particularly AJ's approach. He is now invading space. He's coming forward. He's more on the front foot, and he's working with that lead hand. And one of the things I said in the pre-fight breakdown is a nightmare scenario. One of the worst case scenarios is for Francis Ngannou to turn southpaw, because he's facing arguably the greatest southpaw killer in the heavyweight division currently. Why is he the greatest southpaw killer? Because he got his ass kicked twice by Usyk. And so anybody that's going to be southpaw against AJ is going to be in trouble, because he has a whole toolbox of how to neutralize, how to deal with, and how to KO southpaws. And so he's already playing with that lead hand, which is going to play into some stuff he does later. But for example, the lead hand was up top. Francis was answering by putting his lead hand up top. Now that that right hand is up top, he can't defend that part of his body. So AJ tries to throw a cross to the body. It doesn't land. But let's look at Francis's reaction to this cross to the body. When he throws the cross to the body, what does Francis's right arm do? It drops. So now there's an opening on that right side of his head. Now that he's got Francis reacting, he's going to level change. Earlier, what happened when he level changed? Francis's right arm drops. He level changes, Francis's right arm drops. But this time he's not going to the body, and this time he's not missing. He's going straight to the chin, and he lands, because just a few seconds prior, he saw Francis's bad defensive reaction, and a few seconds later he gets him playing the same game and he lines him up. Let's talk about the anatomy and the definition of a trap. A trap needs at least three things. It needs bait, it needs an expected behavior, or for you to go to a certain place at a certain time, and then it needs the trap part, the trap that springs, the thing that catches you. So the bait is going to be a few parts. AJ is going to put out his lead hand, and then he's going to jab. The jab is important. Why? Because Francis is very much of a mirror fighter. He kind of mimics what his opponent does sometimes. When Fury was going southpaw, Ngannou would go southpaw in the first fight. When AJ was jabbing Ngannou to the body, Ngannou would answer with jabs to the body. And so when AJ jabs, Ngannou answers with a jab. And so AJ knows this. So the part of the bait is the jab, and then he's going to try and get himself in range and get himself in position for Ngannou to want to jab some more, which is exactly what he does. So the bait is there, the expected behavior is there, and then the trap is set for a pull counter to come over top. Or kind of like he kind of drops down, and then he comes over top with the cross. So that's the full anatomy of the trap, the 3 parts. And not too long after that, AJ is in range. Not too long after that, AJ is in range. Boom, jab. And how has Francis been responding? He's been looking for his own jab. And AJ knows that. He's waiting for it. He's waiting. And particularly, what's important is in some prior examples that I didn't show, Francis would step in with his jab. Step in and overextend, which is AJ's specialty. And so AJ is just out of range where Ngannou has to step in. He has to jump in, which means there's absolutely no pulling back inertia. He can't pull, he can't get out of the way. You see his momentum is still carrying him forward. So it's the forward momentum of Ngannou's 275-pound 6'4" Cameroonian body running into AJ's 6'6" Nigerian cannon of a right hand that just blasts him right on the side of the head. And that will literally knock out a rhinoceros, that type of shot. So that's the anatomy of the type of trap that led to the beginning of the end. Because once Ngannou gets back up, he doesn't get back up after. He gets hit with one more shot and then it's over. And so this has been the anatomy of a KO. All right, I'll see y'all later, fight scientists. We will look at UFC tomorrow. Share this with a friend if they thought Ngannou was gonna win. Let them know how wrong they were by showing pieces of this analysis. Also, like the video, of course. Like the video. I really should have said that in the beginning, but I'm saying it now. Subscribe, and I will see y'all later, fight scientists. Immortality Serum out.